Hey everybody, and welcome to another edition of Touch Taste Thursday. I am Rebecca with a K, your host, and tonight my guest for season 5, episode 5 is Tony King. If you are from the Baton Rouge area, you know who Tony King is. If you've ever been anywhere online over the last several years, you are familiar with Mr. Tony King, my guest for tonight. So, hey. It's a lot to cover. We're going to cover it. So make sure you like, you comment, you share. Make sure you you let everybody know we are on live. Rebecca with a K is live tonight, Touch Taste Thursday, and we are going to get started. I hope you guys are having a great day. How us creators, how we continue to create. Okay? So, all right, as soon as my guest gets in, we're going to get started. I'm pretty excited about this. I think this is going to be great. Hey,
Yes, all
what's
right,
up?
there we
What's up?
go.
How are
Man,
you?
what up? What up? I am amazing. You see, I'm wearing these big headphones.
I
I couldn't find my
can hear
my
you.
earbuds. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Good.
Good
How
deal.
are
All
you?
right, good deal, man. I'm amazing. I didn't know my
Ooh,
face looked like this so
how did you
close
think
up,
your
man. I
face
need to
looked?
back up. How's this, man? My nose look kind of big, man. I might need to go
Right.
holler at the. How are you,
Good. It's
Rebecca with a K?
Thursday, mid almost to the weekend. You know how that
Yes.
goes. But hey, it is what it is. Yes. Yes.
Friday Junior.
So let's get into it.
Yes,
Let's talk
yes,
about you.
yes.
Let's talk
Weekend
about
plans.
Tony King. Who is Tony King? For those that
Me.
don't know.
Ooh.
Yes.
Who is Tony King? Hold on, let me turn myself up a little bit. Who is Tony King? Man. Uh if I had, I can be quite
Okay.
long-winded. I've always been this way since I was little, so forgive me if I talk too much. But if I had to make it short, what I would say is an
Okay.
ever-evolving Renaissance man. That's the best. If I had to put it in a sentence, an ever-evolving
Okay. All right.
Renaissance
And
man.
what makes
That's me.
you an ever evolving
Yeah.
Renaissance man?
Because I do so much. I never like to be boxed in. I don't really like rules. I don't like conventionary thinking. I don't like,
Mm-hmm.
just being one thing. So I remember when I was younger, my mama was always real big on look it up. That's back when we had encyclopedias, right? And so, we a typical black household. We only had about six of them. It's the same letters at the end of Wheel of Fortune,
Right.
RstLne. We might have had an A in there somewhere until we moved and lost A something. And so I remember there was a movie that came out when I was little. It was called Renaissance Man. It was starring Danny
Mm-hmm.
DeVito, Gregory Hines, Kadeem Hardison, Khalil Kane, Stacey Dash, Mark Wahlberg, a bunch of people. And I didn't know what Renaissance Man was. And so I remember, asking my mom, and she was like, look it up. And so I looked it up. And the definition impressed me so much that I was like, okay, that's what I'm gonna be. And so just throughout my growth and my life, I've always been known as this funny guy. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, that's what I do. I'm a comedian, but I'm not just relegated to comedy. So, I've acted on stage and won awards. I've acted in films and won awards. A lot of people don't know that part because I really don't, stress that because I feel like I need to do something bigger in order for it to get attention. But one of the four biggest film festivals on the globe, the Cannes Film Festival, I starred in a film that was featured there, and they only take
Mm-hmm.
16 submissions around the globe. So
Right.
that means a Spanish film, or this film, or that film, and the film that I was grateful to be a part of was one of those films. And so um, I've I'm very and I don't like to say it like this because it makes me feel like I'm full of myself, but I'm philanthropic. That's probably the thing that gives me the most uh,
Uh-huh.
joy is to be able to go and mentor kids and then to see the growth that you see from this moment to this moment. So I'm very heavily involved in that. I just started my nonprofit, the Tony King Foundation, a year ago. And we've been grateful to be a part of the mentoring program at YCP, which is in Carville. It's overnight youth challenge program for students and for kids between 14 and 18 who are either looking for discipline or looking for a better a jolt to get them in the right direction. And so we've been grateful to be a part of that. Getting ready to start another cohort with that. We're starting a summer reading program. I'm a volunteer soccer coach.
You're right.
Like,
you are.
So it's so much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's so much, and I haven't even talked about some of the latest projects that I've been a part of. I've been grateful to host mayoral debates here in town. I've been grateful to host or not host but moderate. Not just the mayoral debate, the District 2 debate. I know, it got national attention because we had, Gary Chambers, who was one of the candidates in the race, and one of the clips that he posted, it was me in it because I'm the one who asked the question. You know what I'm saying? So just to be a part of that, to be a part of Black History classes that we offer at Shiloh Baptist Church, just all these different things, and then on top of that.
We'll just hold on that. We'll talk about this
so
later on down the road. So let's circle back to some of the stuff you mentioned. You talked about you have always been funny.
Okay.
So at what point did you know what, comedy might be something that I need to tap into?
Okay. So like my household was like, my mom was like the life of the party. Everywhere we went, she was always the one that was making jokes. That was just her, and so it's only natural for your kids to take on your personality. So we were always like that, myself and my brothers. And then, probably around 6 or 7, we were watching like one of those old Sinbad specials or something. And my cousin was like, "Hey man, you funny like Sinbad." And I was like, "You know what? I am." So I was like, "Okay, that's what I'm going to be. I'm going to be a comedian." And so everything from that moment, that's all I was doing. I was just, studying comedy. I'd watch comedy shows. I'd record Def Jam and, try and do my own jokes and all this other stuff. But one thing I always did with that was I never told anybody. I would only my friends, my close friends and my family knew, because I was grateful that I understood that, people can be mean. So I was like, I don't want nobody hating on me. So I'm just going to, keep it to myself. And then, as I could just continue to grow and grow and grow and grow, I was like, okay, now I'm going to let it out. And so I let it out my senior year. I remember I had a substitute teacher at the time. It was my senior year, second semester. And he just so happened to be a producer for Hits on the Street. As a matter of fact, right now, he is the resident comedian for Erica Campbell's show, formerly of Yolanda Adams' show, Marcus Wiley. And so I was like, my brother graduated high school with him, but he had graduated and, graduated college and, started producing and hosting shows around town. And he was subbing our class that day. And so he's asking everybody, "Hey, what do you want to be? What do you want to be? What do you want to be?" So I'm like, "All right, today is the day I'm going to do it." They had already voted me most funny, so it's cool. I'm letting it out more and more and more and more. Like, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. And so he said, he came to me and he said, "Hey, what do you want to be?" And I said, "Be a comedian." Everybody bust out laughing. You ain't funny. You ain't funny.
Right.
And meanwhile, they had already voted me that. So then he said, "Everybody calm down." He said, "How you gonna do it?" I said, "Well, what I'm gonna do is everybody wants to get on television, but I'm gonna get on radio because there are only a few television shows you can get on, but it's a radio station in every city in America. I got to be good enough to get on at least one of them." That's exactly what I said. And so he sat there and he just shook his head. And whenever he said, "Are you serious?" I said, "I'm very serious." So everybody else left. It was the end of the day. That was 6th period. And he called me over. He said, "Hey, were you serious?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, meet me at Texas Southern tonight. You're going to host the show." And I was nervous, but I went there. It was a step show. I remember I went there and he let me host it, and I hosted the entire show and I crushed it. And I was like, "Yeah, this is it." And so from then on, I was like super laser focused, everything. Like I went to Drake University, with the sole intention of just working on comedy. I remember I was in the freshman, I was freshman homecoming king and also freshman black homecoming king. So see, that's PWI problems right there. See, you got a regular one and then you got a black one. I was both of them. And so I remember for the talent portion for the freshman black homecoming king,
okay,
I did comedy. Like I still remember the jokes. I still remember I talked about, now this gonna date me, but I talked about R. Kelly talking about going half on a baby right after he said he wanted to be, you know, a gospel singer. I talked about one guy in the front. His name was Charles Seltzer. He had a real big head. I said, man, don't laugh too hard. Your head's so big. You bend down and tie your shoes to do a flip. And I did a flip. Like I still remember that set. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it was fun. And but everybody knew me. So when it came time for the talent show, I hosted the talent show. When it came time, so I knew what I was there for. I had a radio show on KDCS, our campus radio station. Like everything, I knew what it was that I came to do. So everything was centered around that. So that's how I just continued to progress in radio. After college, came back home to Houston. Started interning at a station in Houston for free.
Right.
Damn near a year. Like, well, I went to Chicago first, and then came back to Houston, and it was and finally got on, and I started not only writing for the morning show in Houston, but I also was writing for a couple stations around the country for a service that was called United Stations Radio Network. So my first paid gigs in radio was as a writer. So all of those like prank calls and stuff like that, that was me. I would voice act them, I would write them, those sketches. When people would go off and all that stuff. Sorry to break it to you, they fake. But I remember I had a radio station in Philadelphia. I had a radio station in San Diego, KNDN. Let me see who else.
Right.
I had
so
one
all
in
of
New
these
York.
were syndicated, or these are ones that you just moved around to?
No.
Oh.
They were syndicated through this service, the United Stations Radio Networks. So so these are the different. I remember it was the Balthazar and Johnny show, and it's funny about that one because I remember when I first came here. Matter of fact, some of y'all may know him, Marlon Moore, and I went to Red Stick. We were just sitting there, you know, just chopping it up, and he said, "Man, you know," and this is while I'm on the air.
And we'll talk about
94.1.
that in another part.
He said, "Man, you know, we're gonna get to that." And so he says, "Man, you ought to do prank calls, man." I said, "Well, you know, I've done some." He said, "Man, I heard this prank call. Check this out." And he starts playing the call, and I'm like, "Yo, that's me." Like you're talking, like he's like, "Nah, that's in New York." I said, "I know. It's the Balthazar and Johnny show. That's me." The reason that I used the character name Marcus is because that's my cousin name. He was right next to me when I was recording it. I said, "That's me." And so I started laying it out, and he was like, "Oh, snap, that is you." And I started talking in the voice that had a New York accent, all this other stuff. And so, yeah, it's all been accidental.
So do people expect for you to be funny, like when they meet you and they're like, you know, you're like, "Hi, I'm Tony King," or they're like, "Oh, yes, I've heard of you.
100%.
Say something funny."
100%. 1,000,000%. They are like, you know, oh, I got a joke for you. You can use that one.
So much. Not so much.
No.
So who are your comedy inspirations?
Not at all. So okay, about that, I never watch comedy. I do not watch comedy. I have not watched. Seriously, okay, so there are a few that I will watch. So like Dave Chappelle, I will watch. Chris Rock, I will watch. But I
so even growing up, like Red Fox, Richard Pryor.
Oh well, growing up, I was really into everybody. Like everybody, I could spit to you a Howie Mandel set. You know, I could spit a George Carlin set. I could literally, like, when I tell you I studied it, like I read Steve King's book. Steve King, the first host of The Tonight Show, read books by Jack Paar. I'm talking about the history of comedy, to be able to know that uh, Mark Twain is considered the first American comedian, and that his real name is Samuel Clemens. Like I can tell you the history of it, and that's something that I started studying at a very early age because I figured like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I need to study this. I need like anything that you do, you need to study it, and that's we're gonna get to that because that's to me that's probably the most disappointing part of the game right now that's really kind of siphoning my love. Like I feel like there's no barrier to entry to being a comedian now. Like you can just say, "Oh, I'm a comedian." I remember when I started in comedy, you couldn't call yourself a comedian. You had to call yourself a comic, and people knew the difference. Like you couldn't call yourself a comedian until you had 30 good minutes, like 30 good minutes, not 30 cracking on the audience
Just
minutes,
cranking it out.
30 using music minutes. Not, I'm talking about 30 minutes of jokes, like real jokes, not messing with, hey, what you do? What's your name? Oh, what you order buffalo wings? Oh, look at how he's sucking on the bar. No, I'm talking about real jokes. And it was kind of like a rite of passage. There were real open mics with real comics who were there just to work. Like they were. That's how I came up at the last stop in Houston. Like it was real. We had, former and future SNL writers. We had real people who were like really about that life. And I think now I don't see as many, and this is gonna sound like I'm hating. I'm not. I'm just talking about overall love for the game. I don't see people who really have a genuine love of the game. They just like the attention, or they just like the immediacy of people knowing who they are. But they don't have a real love for the game, like a real comic, like you really about this life. You see somebody on stage, it ain't no hate. You walk up to them and you offer them a tagline. That's a real comic. Like that's the real game. Like real comedians bring the best out of each other. It ain't no hate. And so if you see a lot of comedians hating right now, if you see a lot of that means that they are not.
What about these social media? They're funny. They might have like where they've done something a little silly and it just took off, and so now they're thrusted into this forefront of content, and they have all of these people following them and all of these endorsements, and they're on TV all of a sudden, and it's like you have people like yourself and others that really grinded it out before social media was a thing. How does that make you feel, and how does you think they have a future? Like, does it last long?
I personally believe I'm gonna answer the last one first, and then we'll move back. I personally believe that anything that you get easy will not last. And so the thing about those that go viral, I don't knock it. Everybody plays into their strength. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever you do well is what you're gonna lean into. For me, I do well with people. Like I'm old school, and I remember when it wasn't a social media. I remember when you had to get out there, your heart beating fast, and you had to make an impression with somebody that didn't know you. And so for me, I'm a vibe in person. Like this camera can never fully capture the energy that you feel when I'm on stage. Like, and so for me, that's why I enjoy being in front of people a lot more. Well, you have a lot of people now, there's so much fear of public speaking. Like public speaking is one of the greatest fears next to like going to the dentist and arachnophobia. Like public speaking is one of the biggest fears. And so a lot of times people take the side door to get into public speaking, which is what stand-up comedy is. And so it's a lot easier to be able to walk in front of a crowd and all of the heavy lifting has been done. But there's a certain expectation of you once you get in front of those people. And I've seen and not reveling in it at all. Again, it's hard to get up in front of people. It is difficult. And so, and I applaud anybody who has the courage to do it. because they want to do it, right? But I've seen some of those social media
Right.
viral success stories. I've seen them get booed, like,
Badly.
like, 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 like where the tomatoes at, like get booed, and I'm talking about a lot of them that you know, and that's not a good thing. I'm not saying that's a good thing, but I'm just saying that I just personally believe that anything that you get easy will not last. I don't care what it is. Think about how many people have you seen that, you know, we hear stories about people win a lot,
Exactly.
you know, and they go broke the next minute because it's something that they got easy. There's a lot more appreciation for what you do, and there's a lot more lasting effect when you build a solid foundation on it. And I just think that I would rather spend more time building that solid
Absolutely.
foundation more than anything, even though it may take longer.
You're right about that. And I think that a lot of people, and shout out to my radio co-hosts that are here on the live, Bernard Hines, the last therapist, and Jamal Bates. We talk about that a lot. We talk about, just the time it takes to really study a craft. And you have all of these people that do one thing, and overnight they're sensations. Overnight, it's like Hollywood is knocking. And you spent 10, 15, 20 years, educating yourself, really, really working on your craft. And it's just, it gets frustrating after a while. But like you said, eventually it fades out, or the fizzle isn't there anymore. And so for yourself, being in Hollywood, being in those circles, being on different platforms, whether it's radio or TV or however, how have you been able to balance all of that and really show that you're not just like a viral flash in a pan comedian? Like, this is what you do.
Okay, so I'm glad that you asked that, because sometimes, again, because I don't really like to talk about what I have done, because I feel like that's in the past, but only for the sake of this conversation, there have been situations that I've had the opportunity to be in that many of my peers have not been, especially those that may share the same location that I have right now. Like, again, 2015 to 2017, I was working in LA at Playboy. 2013 to 2018, I had a television show that was syndicated in 26 cities. And I had the opportunity just throughout my career to be able to talk to everybody you can think of, from Diddy to Jay-Z to Beyonce when she stole my phone to, long story. I mean, I remember eating dinner with Keisha Cole, and the record label's getting ready to drop her, and Cool DJ Super Mike is telling her what her next record should be, and that next record blew up, and that was Love. I remember, from Kanye to, President Obama. I've literally interviewed President Obama. You know what I'm saying? So how have I been able to maintain balance? One of my favorite poems is "If" by Rudyard Kipling. And in the last stanza says, "If you can walk with crowds and keep your virtue, or talk with kings, nor lose the common touch." And so for me, I've always allowed that to be kind of a rooting principle for me, to understand that everybody is the same person. And I think that people have had an opportunity that I've had an opportunity to be around. I just treat them like normal people. I'll give you a perfect example. And this, I'm really talking way too much, because so New Year's Eve, this was 2020. They were filming. This was right before filming. This pre-production for One Night in Miami. Where Regina King was directing. So myself and one of my collaborators, and it was really because of him, because he was working on the film, we spent New Year's Eve with Regina King playing Taboo, like on the rooftop. Like, I had to stand between her from getting ready to whoop somebody's ass. Like, sorry, my bad. But like, how did I react when I walked in? I just walked in like hey, like, and didn't fanboy out, and we wound up having a conversation, had an opportunity to find out, because and I was shocked because she jumped around my neck like, hey, like, okay, I wasn't expecting that, but just they are people. People are people, you know, and when you treat everyone with respect, no matter who they are, then I remember 4th of July, 2021. Um, remember New
Correct.
Orleans didn't have a fireworks festival. They were not going to play
Yes.
4th of July, and Will Smith paid for it. He also rented out the top room of Jack's Brewery. So we wound up going up there. It was just for the Emancipation staff. So we went up there to watch the fireworks. And what was interesting, and I'm with my same collaborator. That's who I work with on all of my projects. And it was funny because when I walked in, I didn't go to all of these famous people. It wasn't big. It was an intimate gathering. I went to all the workers. I went to everybody who was working, and I'm dapping them up, making sure that,
Right.
hey, y'all ate? Are y'all good? And before the end of the night, everybody's like, hey, Tony, you good? Tony.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's like, how everybody know this dude? And so I leaned over to the guy that I work with, and I said, Manny Bree, you don't love me too? I'm just playing.
That's Monty. That's my
I
little
said,
sis.
so I'm just messing with you. And I leaned over to my collaborator and I said, the one thing you always want to do in every situation is you want to get to know the people who are making everything happen. And it's not the ones that you think, it's the ones behind the scenes. And I always make it a point to show them love, and they're going to show you more love than you could ever imagine. So I really go out of my way to do that. So that's really more so kind of how I keep that balance that you talk about or that you asked
Great.
about.
Let's put a pin right there. Let's welcome everyone that's joining us. Now, this is Touch Taste Thursday, Season 5,
right.
Episode 5. I am Rebecca with a K. This is the Jean Ellen Home and Lifestyle Collections Touch Taste Thursday, and my guest tonight is Tony King, the man, the myth, the legend, Baton Rouge legend, Houston legend.
I'm giving way too much credit.
Just all over the U.S. legend.
Hold on, I need to watch my wallet. I'm messing around.
But no, definitely a Baton Rouge legend. If you guys have been around in the late 90s through the 2000s, you all know Tony King is funny from Max 94.1 for sure, keeping us laughing in the morning on the way to work. And let's talk about that a little bit. Let's talk about jumping into radio.
Okay.
And I'm bringing it up only because I find myself in radio now.
Yeah,
and
it's good.
I don't know. It's sometimes it's like I don't know what to say. It's almost like, how are you going to keep this energy up? How are you able to keep the energy to inspire people to make them have a better day than they were having when they first got into their car? And so for you, how were you able to do that and be a part of a crew and maintain for so many years?
Okay. Let me just say this. I came in 03. Let me say that. But the thing that you just got to have a love for people, and I know for me that's my thing. Remember when I talked about really being about that life, like really entertaining people and making sure that they are happier from the moment that they reach me. Like when I meet them, they are at a point of happiness. I want to enhance that, and so really being about that in all aspects, I think for me is what really moved me and was my lodestar. Like I really spent a lot of time and energy really studying what it is or how to even talk to them, how to even say, what do they like? What is the person who's listening to me like? What do they want to do? What do they, where are they going? What do they listen to? And so it's really more so of a conversation with friends. And I'm the kind of person where, I've always, I never met a stranger. Like when I was little, I had an issue talking with strangers. Like my mom would be like, hey, stop talking to strangers. I'd be like, that's not a stranger. That's Mr. Johnny. Like, so just really being about that life, and really, love on people is really what my fuel was every day. And so, and I think that whenever you have a purpose that's bigger than yourself, it always pushes you in those times when it gets hard. And it got hard. Don't get me wrong. I see AJ Boogie just jumped on. he know about it. Like, you know, we I mean, and when you work with
Mhm.
people, I mean, we have a million stories. Like, I have a million stories. Like, literally every up
Uh-huh.
and down at that station happened, you know, to shape who I am, and I'm grateful for them all. I
Because
mean, a
morning radio is
million
not for the
stories.
weak. It's a sacrifice.
And oh, it is. I mean, just
Me
I've never been a morning
neither.
person in my life until I was on the morning show. Like, ever. Like, I was
Hmm.
the kid who slept till noon. Like, like that was me. And so I was always the night owl. And so to do morning radio, to be there at 5:30, you know, on and I wasn't even drinking coffee then. Like, it would be just be a straight natural high. And so yeah, I didn't get into coffee until
God.
after I left. So but yeah, it was a grind, but I enjoyed it. You know what I'm saying? It was definitely a part of my development, and also a bucket list. I always wanted to be a part of one of the show. I remember being in Houston. That's actually how we got here. Was you know, I started, like I said, writing on the morning show in Houston, and
Hmm.
running into Tweezy, and he was working the night show. He told me to come in the night show, and then we started climbing in the night show, and I was like, man, this is so good. We need to do a morning show. And so I just, for like 6 months, I'm like, morning show, morning show, morning show, morning show. And then the opportunity came for him to come back, and he hit me up, and the first thing I said was
Not no.
no, no, no. Houston to Baton Rouge, that's the one thing everybody asks me. It's like, yo, why'd you go to Baton Rouge? Like, what are you doing here? Whenever I tell people I'm from Houston, they always say, what are you doing here? Because they know. And so this, they flipped our format. If you want to know what flip format is, just think about when Martin and and they turned it from hip hop to country. That's literally what happened. And so and I remember I was trying my hand at every other station in Houston. And Tweezy called me one day. He was like, "Hey man, you ready to come back in the room?" And I was like, "Nope,
Hmm.
I'm gonna try my hand here." Call me the next week after my interviews. You ready to come to Houston? Mm-mm. Nope, I'm gonna keep trying it here. Called me that third week, right after my last interview. He said, "Hey man, you tired of being broke yet?" And I said, "Yep, yes I am. I'll be
Gotcha.
there tomorrow."
Gotcha. Because gospel radio and
And that's
secular
how I got here.
radio, I mean, it's all of it is all, like you said, preparation and being able to love people and
It's the same
talk to
thing. It's
people
the
and
same
want
thing.
to
Yeah,
have fun for
yeah.
people. So the concept is crazy.
Now I'm gonna say something too. I don't mean to put you on blast, but I done seen gospel folks be way more gangster than any secular.
I mean, I okay.
I'm saying, I'll say this, and if AJ is still on the chat, he know about the situation I'm talking about. I've seen a gospel artist come to the FG Clark Activity Center and refuse to go on stage until they had their, because I'm not gonna gender them and let you know who they are, until they had their money in a briefcase. Cash,
Absolutely. That's historic in gospel music.
G's,
Yes.
G's,
Mhm.
thousands,
Not unheard of.
tens of thousands.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll tell you like this, honestly, the times when I haven't been paid or paid late as a comedian have been when I performed at churches.
That's a whole nother conversation.
I'm not gonna get into that.
It's a whole
I'm
nother
not gonna get into that.
conversation. So let's just
I'm
move a little bit
not gonna
further.
get
So
into that. I'm
after
not gonna get it. Anyway,
leaving
anyway.
radio and making a pivot, how did you kind of find which direction you wanted to go into? Because I know you've always had your hand in different things, but how did you just say, you know what, I'm just gonna let go of radio and I'm gonna move into this, and this is my new direction?
Well, um, I don't like to do things more than once. Like, I don't like
Mm-hmm.
repeating cycles just for the sake of repeating them. Like, I've always been about moving forward, and um, I just whenever I, like you said, made that pivot, it was never like, oh, I need to find something to do. These were already thoughts that were on my mind. So when you think about 2013, when I have a television show, well, the first iteration of the pilot of that was 2011. You know what I'm saying? You know, which we had started planning in 2010, which I had really started planning in like 2008. So it was never like, oh, well, it's time to pivot. It's really more so like, I'm the kind of person I can't do two things at one time. So I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to go all in. Like, I'm the kind of person, like I go to Vegas, like, we're not staying in the casino all day. We're just going to get all this right now. We're going to do all this right now. And then we just go get out of here. We don't waste our time. We're gonna go hard right now. So that's really more so how I've made the decisions that I've made just when it's time to. And I also understand because I look at comedy as well like a business, because it is a business. And so just like any other thing, if the market is flooded with a product, then you need to find something else to do. I've always been a contrarian, and at the heart of being a contrarian is I've always said if everybody's doing this, well, I need to do this, because everybody can't be right. And I always looked at the crowd as being wrong. That's kind of why I feel the way I feel about comedy, right?
Let's talk about the Tony King Live, your syndicated show that you had.
Okay. Yeah.
Explain what being in syndication is for those that don't know, because they have some that are not familiar with certain terms. And so I just want to make sure that we're clear. Like when we're talking syndication, we're talking about outside of the area to multiple locations across the United States. Like not one here, one there. We're talking several. Lots.
So when I first started, it was only local. And I remember Dig Magazine did a cover spread on me, and they came to the show, and I was airing after NBC, after Saturday Night Live on NBC here, and so they asked me, they said, hey, and I kept saying that I'm gonna be syndicated by the end of the year. You know, this is gonna be syndication by the end of the year, and so they said that I bordered. What was the exact phrase? It was something like my confidence bordered on crazy or something like that. Now this is May 1st that this issue came out, and December 23rd is when I signed my syndicated deal. And what happened was somebody saw it passing through the market. They were going to New Orleans, and they had stopped here in Baton Rouge, and it was an executive for the network that I was with was SSN, and he saw it and was like, oh, this is pretty cool. Let me find out more about it. He reached out to the studio where I was filming. They connected us, and the rest is history. And so though the network that I was airing through, they had some issues with financing, it was headed by producer of New Jack City. And so they had a focus on what they called sister cities. They recognized that they were leaning heavy into black markets, and they recognized that 53% of Black America lived in the South, but there were large pockets in what they called sister cities. So the cities that we were in those sister cities. So I was in New York, I was in Philly, I was in Chicago, Detroit, Houston, Dallas, Miami, and everywhere else in between. And so, like those were the big cities that I was in. And so I really didn't think much of it, you know. And I remember I would always know when I was airing, because I would get like these messages on my Facebook page. They'd be like, hey man, I'm in Harlem, I'm checking you out right now. And people in Baton Rouge didn't really think anything of it until they would go to New York. And I remember there were a couple of times some people that I knew who went to New York, they're like, yo bro, you on TV. I'm like, yeah, I know. I've been trying to tell you how I air in New York. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, one of those things where I'm very grateful for that experience. I may
Okay.
revisit that one honestly. That's something
Okay.
that I'm contemplating, um, revisiting that. And so yeah, uh it's something that I am
Okay.
yeah, I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about doing it this time because now I have a greater networking pool. I have a greater access to resources to where I can really
Okay.
do
If
it
you
the
need
way
a
that I want to do
co-host, I'm available.
it. I'm gonna hold you
Okay.
to that. I'm
Hey,
gonna hold you to
I'll
that.
write it
I'm gonna hold
down.
you
Put
to
it in
that now.
writing.
Okay.
That's my new motto. Put it in
Yeah, there
writing.
you go. There you go.
So let's move down the line a little bit more. So now we're in 2020, 2021, and here we are in 2023. What does Tony King have
Okay.
up his sleeve in 2023 and beyond? Because you dropped a lot of things that
Okay.
I hope people
I kind
caught that you were,
I
yeah,
kind
you were,
of
you
hinted
you
at
threw
it.
out like some big names here,
I've
and I
I've
hope the people caught it because I did.
I've so man, it's gonna seem like cap, but I've been working heavily in the film space, film and television. Speaking of Detroit, I got to go back to Detroit uh, for some filming. I have Atlanta that I have to do some filming. Those are two television shows that I am producing and directing. One of them is for the Zeus Network. Um, Another one is a three-series pilot that we're doing. Since and it really started in 2018, 2019. Um, because the film that I started in, we filmed in 2017. We hit the film festival circuit and really did well. 45 film festivals, 26 first place awards. And it's no credit to
Right.
me. It's a great staff, but even more so a great director, who I'm lucky enough to be able to collaborate with more consistently. But I've been writing films. I've had some sex, some success with that, and I'm grateful for that. I want to continue. Um, I just recently, I probably have, let me see, somewhere around 13 films that I've written and collaborated with. One that you will see coming very soon is a collaboration, not actually writing, but
Okay.
you will see my contribution to a film coming in October if I don't get cut out
Not the editor's
in these next
cut.
round of cuts. But with hey,
All
it
right.
ain't final cut yet. You know what I'm saying? So, but
Very
as of right
good.
now, I'm still in that mug. But but the underdogs, starring Snoop Dogg, Mike Epps, Tika Sumter, Andrew Schultz. So
Okay.
far,
All
I'm
right.
still in that one. Still, I might get cut, but still. Um, and I just finished, and I really shouldn't say this, but I just finished writing a film for Amazon MGM. Just turned that in last week. I've had an opportunity right now. I'm literally working on another book to film that I'm writing for the producer of Rush Hour. So I'm really grateful for that. Being in and out of town, working on that stuff. So those are really the
Yes.
things that I've really been putting all of my focus in right now. Um, on it. And the pandemic really, I hate to say this like this. So I was pre-pandemic, I was traveling a lot performing. Like I was, you know,
Right.
Chicago here, Minneapolis here, LA here, Houston here, Dallas. Like I was really, I had the slate set up. I remember when the world shut
Mhm.
down. I was on my way to the airport. Like I remember it. I had a show. I remember my
Right.
heart was beating fast because I didn't want to go, and I got the call when I was rounding over there by Memorial Stadium, and so um, the pandemic slowed me down to where I wasn't so focused on
Mhm.
my live stand up and I could really sit down and take some time. I remember in 2020, I wrote three films. No, I'm lying, four. Um, and one of them that I completed at the end of 2020, I wound up, they finally bid on it and and I sold that one last March. So really, I'm very grateful for that, and that's a
Mm-hmm.
space that I kind of want to continue to operate in this moment, and because I'm
Right.
really enjoying it, and plus, not to mention, it's
Mm-hmm.
hard. There's a barrier to entry to it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not like you know, I for me, I like things that are
How
difficult because it
what you
shows
wanted.
just
Yeah.
how good I am. No,
Mm-hmm.
not wanted. It shows how good I am. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm on a quest to show myself how good I am, and a quest to show everybody else too. Like, don't. I'm sorry. I am vain, and so this allows me, as I continue each step of this process, it allows me to be able to um,
Right.
earn something that ain't easy. It's not easy at all. Like it's hard. Sometimes I do get down. I just got down a minute ago when I saw that they're making a dodgeball too. I'm like, damn, dodgeball too. But I often catch myself and then just continue on pushing and just continue keeping my head down and working. So that's really I mean, like I'm literally like my stand is on top of my computer. I shut it down. Like I got my notes right here. Like I'm literally in the middle of it right now. So that's something that where a lot of my energy, if not all of my energy, is going is to writing um, and producing
And
long
so, how
form
would
content.
someone that's
So
interested in getting into the entertainment industry, whether that's writing, producing, acting, just whatever, like what advice would you give to have the right direction to get started?
um, I would suggest that you work on your mind first
Mm-hmm.
because it's not for the weak. And we live in a culture now that kind of celebrates weakness and justifies weakness. And so I would suggest you really spend some time working on your mind, getting mentally tough,
Mm-hmm.
because the entertainment industry is hard. It's really, really hard. Like it ain't. I I wouldn't encourage anybody to go into
Yeah.
entertainment at all, unless you're gonna be an entertainment lawyer, unless you're gonna be something. Like don't don't put yourself at the judgment of somebody else. Like it's difficult to have to listen to somebody tell you
Mm-hmm.
something that they don't know, or tell you something that they are just opining on, or like the
Okay.
entertainment industry is filled with fear, and so that's why you see so many reboots. That's why you see so many sequels, and this universe and that universe. It's because it's filled with fear. Nobody wants to take a chance, and I get it. And so they continue to operate based upon what they think that they know, or operate the way that things have always been. So when you come with these ideas, you have to be the one to be rooted in it and believe in it enough. Like
Mm-hmm.
I get told no all the time. Like I don't mean shit. Okay, I bet. That don't mean nothing to me.
Yeah.
Like you tell me no, like okay, that just means that I'm on my way to the yes that I need. And so I just think that the first thing I would encourage anybody to do is to work on your mind. The second thing I would encourage you to do is pick another
Not
career.
another career.
Yeah, like straight up. Like why right now the Writers Guild is getting ready to
Mm-hmm.
go on a strike May 1st. And going on a strike because of what is deemed as unfair wages and practices that are being used by streamers in terms of paying
Mm-hmm.
writers for their intellectual output. Why would you want to deal in that? Do not deal in that.
So how does
Do
one
not.
handle their
Go do
business on that
something else.
side, like protecting your intellectual property? Is that copyright and like what? Okay.
Okay, so I'm glad you said that. So again, I study journalism at Drake University, the Meredith School of Journalism. Meredith is the largest publisher of magazines on the globe, and so I had some great professors, and what they taught me, one of the main things that you need to know in journalism is law. And the reason that you need to know law in journalism is because journalism is so important to the government that it is the First Amendment in the Bill of Rights. It is so important that it is the first thing that the framers thought of to add to the Constitution. Guns were second. The first thing that they said was the most powerful were those words. And so what is included in that is that the minute you put, let me show you something. Wait, that looks like an ampersand, but you know what I'm talking about, the copyright symbol. The minute you put that copyright symbol on there and you send it out into the public domain, it's copywritten. You have to put the copyright symbol and the date. Now, of course, you also want to take other measures. You could take other measures to register it with other sites. Let's say, like for me, when I write a script, I'll register it with the Writers Guild. So you can do that. That's also good. But the minute you send it out, you have to send it out, as a matter of fact. A lot of people will try and do what's a poor man's copyright, and most times a poor man's copyright is not going to hold up in court because you did not put it out. So what's going to happen is it's going to come back as saying, oh, that's just a coincidence. You cannot copyright words like me and you talking. You can't copyright that. What you can copyright are words on paper. So if you have an idea for a treatment or a script, write it out, do the work, and put it out. And once you put it out with that copyright,
so you have a lot of people that you know, they put out these news articles or they start to sue other people because they're saying, you know, I sent my script to so and so and they stole my idea and created this mega hit movie or whatever. Does that apply to the same?
Yeah. If you put that on there, you are going to be protected. Now, what's going to happen is what you have to do is you have to prove that they didn't. The hardest part is proving that they didn't already have something prior to them receiving it. And so there are certain things like things that may be similar. But most times, most of those settlements, that you don't even hear about the settlements that they'll get. But it's okay to get a settlement if they steal your stuff, because you should be, you know, and I'm saying this as somebody, I'm very scared of some of the ideas of mine taken. But, you know, I don't believe that there's only one script that I would be really upset if somebody took. Only one. Outside of that, I believe that I can make, you know, better scripts. You know, I believe that, you know, my intention is always to get better. So, no, but again, the reason that I know that about the copyright thing is because I study. We don't study. We don't read. It's like we have a culture of anti-intellectualism to where we don't want to study and make thyself approve. Oh, he's dropping them verses. Uh-oh. But we don't want to do that. What we want is the quick, easy route, and that's how a lot of times we make the mistakes that we make. Like for a comedian, right? We have comedians that, you know, and I'm about to drop some free game right here. This is about to be free game, and I hope that there's somebody who's listening. Free game. There's something called the performance royalty, where if you perform in a public space in a performance venue, you must be paid a royalty if that material is published in a unit that is available to sell. Performance royalties. So we have, so that's how rappers and other people are. That's why they get upset about they publishing, because they don't own that. So when they're at a concert, they're not getting paid on that. The person who owns it is. As a comedian, we have comedians who will do these specials. Oh, I got this special. Oh, I'm doing a live recording. Oh, I'm doing this. Oh, I'm doing that. And you never perform it again. Instead, do a live recording and do the jokes again and again and again. Now, you can do your new material with it, but when you perform that joke that is recorded, you own the publishing to, you get paid.
Mic drop. What are you, quick round, what's on your playlist? What are you listening to right now?
Oh man, I'm super old school. Like like right now, I'm also the kind of person I'll listen to a song on repeat like a
Okay.
million times until I get tired. Right now, what's playing in my iTunes right now is "Out of Touch" by
Hmm.
Hall and Oates.
Okay.
Before that, before that was "Last Call" by
What?
Kanye. I'm all over the place, man. Don't mind me. I, I'm all over the place, man. Don't listen to me. You know, I might, I don't know, like, but I also honestly, I might one day be listening to
Okay.
Miles Davis. Like, I don't know. Like, it just depends. I might one day I might listen to Cameo, uh, Candy all day. Like, I I don't have a wide variety of songs. It'll just be one song that I'm
Just
feeling,
over and
and that's
over and
like
over
my
on the loop.
soundtrack for the entire day. Like when I worked out this morning, I listened to Last Call by Kanye for an hour and a half on repeat.
All right. Top
I'm
three
weird, man.
TV shows
Don't mind me.
that you're watching right now.
Ever? Oh, right now. Okay, so this is tough because I don't even watch television. I
Okay.
don't consume a
That's
lot of
fair.
entertainment. I'm sorry. And the reason that I don't is because I don't want to let their thoughts become my thoughts as I'm creating. So I try and keep a barrier. So yeah, I really don't. I've never seen. Y'all gonna hate me for this. I've never seen an episode of Abbott
I've seen
Elementary.
like three. Eh.
Like I've I any show like I haven't.
What are your what
I
are your
try to. I
go-tos for self-care?
for self care. Okay, this might be a little damaging. So I listen to when I'm writing sometimes, or if I want to relax, I go to YouTube and I put on World King Live. It's like a vision board. It'll just constantly give affirmations, and so I play that a lot. Um, that makes me feel good. Another thing I do is Walmart has these really good double fudge chocolate chip cookies. I'll go and I'll smash them. Like I'll smash. It's 10 of them. Don't
I'm
judge
not
me. You
judging.
judging me
I'm just
right now. You
listening.
judging me. You're judging me. You looking
No,
kind of
kind of
judgy.
have
You
that.
got that
Let me go
judgy
look this up
McJudgington
and see
look.
what he's
I
talking
don't
about because
know.
that sounds like something I should have in my cabinet. Okay.
It is. They are very good. And then I'll also
Oh
eat
no, those
these
are dope.
popcorn chips. That's my self care routine. I'll also let me see. I'll just try my best to do absolutely nothing, or I will try my best to delve into my work. I mean, I hate to say this, but I don't think I
Okay.
really have a self care routine. Like I don't know. I just think I feel kind of guilty if I'm not doing something, if I'm not creating something
Mm-hmm.
or putting something together with the scripts or anything like that. I
Yes.
feel like I am lying to myself, or I feel like I'm wasting moments. And I know that that's kind of bad now in this time period where we spend so much time talking about self care and burnout. But I really love what I do, and so I love putting my head down and looking up, and now I'm on page 43. Like I'll put it to you like this. So I had to read this book, and I don't want to show it to you because it's NBA stuff. But here I'll do this. I
Uh-huh.
had to read this book, 351 pages,
Okay.
in order to start a script. I read it in a day and a half.
Okay.
Like like no wasted time. Like it's like I would much rather be working than anything. Like you have some people that are like, oh, I need a vacation, or oh, I
Oh,
need this, and I
nice.
hate
You said that
vacations.
with a hard H. Hard
I
H.
do. I I hate vacations. Like I I
Right.
travel, of course. Like I love traveling. I just would rather work while traveling. Like I don't I feel like if I'm doing nothing, I am letting myself down.
Understood.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, it's your
that's
truth.
not cool now. That's
it's
not
your
cool
truth.
now.
I just ask the questions and you give the answers. That's your truth. All right.
Yeah.
And so before we wrap up, tell the people how they can get in touch with you.
As you all can see, everything is Tony King is funny. Tony King is funny on Instagram. Tony King is funny on Facebook. Tony King is funny on TikTok. Tony King is funny on it's literally Tony King is funny on everything. Y'all might see me go dark for periods. Like I'm going dark now, right? But that's because I would much rather say something when I have something to say, like pop up and say, "Hey, look, Tony King just signed this deal," or Tony King did the script. So that's more so what I would do. But yeah, that's how you can stay in touch. You can always hit me up. Come to any shows if I ever have any. I was planning something in January in Baton Rouge, but with the projects and things like that, I kind of got pulled away from that, so we had to reschedule. I'm looking at possibly doing it in January of 24. So so look out for that. It's going to be a full entertainment experience, not just regular comedy, a full entertainment experience. Yes. So come to be entertained. And so yeah, so that's how you can get it.
I appreciate you coming on and sharing your time with me tonight. I appreciate your humbleness. Like you just dropped a lot that I hope the people, when you were dropping names and your projects and stuff like that, and you were so cool and so humble about it, like, nah, whatever. And so I appreciate that about you.
Again, I mean, you ever been fired? Being fired to make you humble. No, I mean all that stuff really don't matter.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it don't matter. People are people, and there's only been one person that has ever made me. Well, two. One. Okay, so Beyonce, your knees gonna get weak. That's just what it's gonna be. But one person has made me starstruck in the history of my career. One person. Bootsy Collins.
Solid.
I know. I'm a big funk fan. Like I am a giant funk fan. Like I love it. I love everything about funk. Funk is my favorite genre. I hate that I like Flashlight. Like it is. Yes. It is like funk is it. And I remember I interviewed him at the BET Awards in 2007, and I literally had to call home. Like I was shaking. Like I was like, oh my God,
you
this
were
is
fanning out.
Like yeah, so I was. Speaking of BET Awards, y'all know I was in the audience when Rick James.
It was like 2004, right? Like the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was 04.
And what was your reaction? Were you just kind of like, Rick James, or you were like, oh?
No. When he said that on stage, so they had all of the DJs and radio personalities. We were all sitting together because BET would actually pay for the radio stations in the top 90 markets to come out to LA. And so just for promotion for the BET Awards. And so, we're all back there, but they would stick us in the back though. We were in the far back right, and everybody was like, man, I sure hope he say it. He ain't gonna say it. Nah, I hope he say it. And when he said it, I mean, we all went crazy. So yeah, that was a fun one. I remember I was at the one when Michael Jackson came. I was actually backstage. I accidentally wound up backstage, and I was standing next to Snoop because Snoop had to come through the underground entrance because Suge was looking for him. They had like 30 Bloods that were there with Suge. They were standing out there looking for Snoop. So yeah, I was at that when and Michael Jackson walked by me. Him and James Brown on stage. I was at that one. I was at oh man,
thought about doing a memoir, like
Anyway,
like
I went back.
I don't know, maybe like a video vlog talking about your experiences and the craziness of entertainment, and just kind of a little bit about that story. Like Snoop Dogg was hiding from Suge Knight.
I thought about doing an animated series with that. Because there was one. Remember how? And I thought about this before this incident. But remember when Webby went on the Breakfast Club and he couldn't remember their names? So I actually had a situation that was like that. I want to say it might have been 08, 07, 08. We had the End of Summer Jam and BG performed. And so for you all remember I used to wear a Tony King is Funny shirt all the time. And so I just finished interviewing BG before he goes on stage. And I said, hey, BG, man, before you go, can I get a drop? Just say, hey, it's BG. Tony King is funny. And he was like, why? What's happening? It's your boy, the BJ's, and I'm chilling with my boy, Tommy Jones is funny. So I'm like, hey, wait, hold on. B, real quick, it's not Tommy Jones. It's Tony King is funny. If you get lost, just read the shirt. For sure. Wow, what's happening? It's your boy, the Beaches, and I'm chilling with my boy, Tommy Jones. I'm like, wait, hold on, B. It's Tony King. Just look at the shirt if you get lost. For sure. This went on like 3-4 more times. So finally, I was like, man, forget it. So I also used to work for ESPN, and I was covering the Den Hornets. And so I went to a game for ESPN, and I'm coming back home, and I pull over at the gas station, and who pops out of a white Range Rover? It's BG. Now I'm wearing my ESPN shirt, and so I know he don't remember. And as we cross each other, as I'm walking in the store to pay for the gas, and he's coming out, he's like, "What's up, Tommy Jones?" I'm like, "Oh, this dude is messing with me. He's messing with me." True story. If you think I'm joking, ask Trelly Trail, ask Sashika. They were right there.
Moment.
So now I got friends. As a matter of fact, speaking of Trail, she calls me Tommy Jones to this day because of it.
That is crazy.
I said, man,
you have to develop that into something, because people are not going to believe how crazy some of these people are.
That's not the craziest one. Like I remember Olivia crying coming off the stage because she got booed at the end of something. Like I have a million stories. Like I remember interviewing Rick Ross and asking who farted. Like it was like it's a ton of stuff. Like yeah, I might need security after it.
But it's gonna be so great. Like just the stories, and because just those two, and I'm so intrigued. Like you've already baited me in. Like I need more.
Yeah.
We gotta talk about the Beyonce stealing your phone.
Jesse Jackson. I got a Jesse Jackson story. Beyonce stole my phone in the Galleria in Houston.
Okay.
Took it off. Started walking. Had closed it up and everything. It was flip phone. Whoa. B. Hold on. Don't put it in your purse. That's mine.
Did you get it back?
Come on back. Yeah.
Yeah,
I got that.
Okay.
Talking
you just walked off, just casually, wasn't even paying attention. Like, whatever.
Casually,
got it.
Just walk.
Thank you so much. Oh,
but I remember. Oh, see, I was going on. Let me say these two things. The best smelling, because I thought about this when you said Beyonce, it made me think about Rihanna, because everybody talks about how she smells. The best smelling person I've ever been around, Marsha Ambrosius.
She gives good smell energy.
And it's like unicorn hair. Like it's Like, who else? Uh, and I remember when Melanie Fiona tried to kiss him on the BET Music Matters tour. All right. So, with that being said, thank you so much, Rebecca with a K, for having me tonight.
Great.
I had fun. More will be coming when I drop the animated memoir series. Be looking for films. You can catch me, Tony King is Funny, on everything. I promise I will perform in Baton Rouge
Come
in
on.
2024. I promise that. What else? Also, too, one thing that I'm
Yes.
very passionate about, the Tony King Foundation. We are starting a summer reading program, and on top of that, a monthly reading program if you and mentoring program. So if you would like for your young student, especially young males, because it is important, literacy rates have been tied to links to violence and incarceration. The lower your literacy rates, the more probable you are to get into some level of life of crime. We want to curb that and do all that we can. So we have a summer reading program, a year-long reading program, and a young boys to men mentoring program.
Yes.
Be on the lookout for that. I'm very passionate about that, and I would love for anyone who would like to participate or also have their kid involved to get involved with that.
Yes,
So,
definitely send me information so I can
There we go.
post it and reshare it on the G. Nolan Collection page, as well as Rebecca with a K.
This won't be the last time. This won't be the last time.
I did
You
say
said
that.
you'll co-host.
Put it in
something.
writing.
There we go.
I'm gonna text it to you.
See, I had already
Hey,
held you to it. So there you go.
Hosting is what I do now, apparently. That's my thing. So I'm here for it, and I'm grateful for it.
Hey, you do
Well,
a good
thank
job.
you. Thank you.
You do a
I
very,
appreciate
very
you,
good
Mr.
job.
Tony
Yes.
King. It's funny.
Yes.
Thank you again for taking a huge chunk out of your time to be a part of the G. Nolan experience. And so you are now a friend of the show, so you are more than welcome to come back at any time. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And thank you to everyone that is tuned in. Make sure you like, you comment, you share. Make sure you let your friends, family, whoever on Instagram know that Tony King was on the G. Nolan Collection show tonight. That's how, like I said, us as creators, that's how we get our content out there. We continue to provide you guys with the best of ourselves and know what you like to see and what you like to hear. So with that being said, you can always find me at gnolancollection.com. You can send me a DM. You can always text me. And I would also like to know who you guys like to see on the G. Nolan Collection Touch Taste Thursday. I'm always open for suggestions and soft introductions. So with that being said, have a great night, a great weekend. And our motto here is, what's for me is for me, and what ain't is for another saint. Have a great night, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.